good, my anime people? What is good, yo? Man, it's been a pretty crazy amount of days, but the best thing that's coming out of everyday stuff is anime. So, we're pretty lucky to get to see such interesting stuff always coming out, regardless of when and how. It just makes its way out. Um, This week's episode of Tower of Gods, or just Tower of God. I think it should be plural, but it makes sense why it's not, just because the people who are ridiculously high level, or, excuse me, or just like deadly in general, are called rankers, and they're people that pretty much reach the top as well. So, the thing that I think everybody can get out of this show is it's fun. It's got a lot of things happening. Um, Everything that is happening seems like it could lead to further implications of just interesting stuff popping off within the show. Like, they really don't miss a chance to expand upon what we already know and what we already could, well, what I could already tell is that this blue haired guy was deadly in his own right. Like, this man has pretty much shown a lot of promise in the case of, like, he first of all stopped somebody from even doing any type of damage to him when he was by himself, and then utterly destroyed him. So we already knew he had some type of strength going for him. And then if you sum that up, and then you look at, you know, the guy who's calling them turtle and stuff like that, it's all looking like he could probably take that guy out if he really wanted to after a while, right? Like, I don't think we've seen like more than 7 people who might be able to defeat the blonde hair guy, to be fair. And that's just from looking at what he's already done to how he carries himself. He truly, truly gives me the vibes of the final boss type of deal, or just too close to the end with our main character, and once he gets there, he could be a problem in some way, shape, or form. But I think it makes a lot of sense because even the ranker who sets up the test and makes it so you can't get through unless you're lucky, um, which our main character is so ridiculously lucky that the water that was pushing them back that looked like water, I forget, I don't know how to pronounce what it's actually called, but it's pretty much a source of power that is used by the tower all the time. So as soon as you get to floor 30, this water that he was showing us, this water wall that people couldn't even pass through, will be something consistent or even worse once you get to floor 30, and it's straight up like forcing you um, to pretty much withstand it, you know. So it's really cool to see things like that happen in this show because I don't think anyone really has a good clue of what could even pop off if you're anime only right now. Think about it like this: if the the white haired guy wasn't so interested in the Black March, we probably would not have him on our team, right? So, big red flag there. He's interested in the weapon our character's holding. Not our character, but the weapon that he holds. And what does he do when he finds out that that weapon is relatively interesting, or he's too curious? He pursues it and goes straight after the questions that he would need of why is it in the possession of Bond's hands, and what is the reason for him having it when supposedly it's only supposed to be wielded by princesses. Which, once I heard it was only supposed to be wielded by princesses, I was like, okay, That is kind of weird. And then they tell us about his luck, like how ridiculous luck is in this show, or just in this tower in general. So, of course he would have it. Not only does he have like the strongest sword maybe a princess can have, and that kind of scares me because imagine if Rachel becomes bad. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if Rachel was like an enemy, and we pretty much get to see now instantly that these swords are meant for, like women in general. So what if she's just like, I'm gonna take that weapon from you now, Bond, and you can't do nothing about it, and the weapon just wants to go with her, So um, these are the types of things I think about for some odd reason. But at the same time, and I only say that because he says Rachel he belongs to her. Not that they're friends, not that they, are close comrades, and none of that stuff. He belongs to her. And when the white-haired kid hears about this, he calls it a rule. Like, you are under her rule. God, like it was very understandable to him once he put it in that type of layman's term for himself. Oh, it's a rule. Gotcha, gotcha. So sounds like he might own some people as well, and it was a kind of common thing, maybe like not too shocking to him, but was interesting nonetheless that this kid is, ruled by someone. I honestly don't know what to expect anymore because not only did we get like a warning to not hang around um, this person in particular, this white-haired guy. I mean, there's someone who literally was trying to hunt him, and they're not like the ranker wasn't like, oh yeah, don't stay around that guy. He's gonna keep trying to hunt you, Like he's like, yeah, that white-haired guy, yeah, don't get away from him. Stay away from him. Do something different than getting close to that guy. So another way the story is making itself, like another way the story is just creating its own problems, creating its own ways of keeping us intertwined with crazy things that we might not even look into. Um, I am gonna say this. I think one of the coolest characters we got to see and got to witness was this dual sword guy who stood his own with the girl with the rod, who pretty much has the emblem that the turtle hunter noticed and wanted to hunt down. But not only was the sword like ridiculously important, um, it goes to show that once it was something that was going to um, get our main character in trouble some way, shape, or form, right? So everything we've seen in this week's episode with Bond being ridiculously lucky, with getting a heads up not to trust the white hair guy, and then above all else, we just got to get some. And this is where the webtoon of it kicks in. Is all of a sudden the way that we get to learn anything more about the ranker, anything like that, feels weird because it just felt like they took an easy route. It's like, okay, I'm gonna base this test off luck. And if it wasn't based off luck, Bond would have been pushed back probably, right? And we wouldn't have learned that much. But because it was based on luck, we get to learn all this stuff about the tower, about him, about, irregulars, regulars, all this different stuff. But it then feels like it was, exposition more than anything, in my opinion. Um, like I said, the test just happened to be something the main character would never have to struggle with because he didn't even get pushed back. He was so lucky. And then we got people who already had shown signs of not being able to make it through and still making it through. So it's a really interesting way of going about it. Like, I guess their luck isn't so powerful, they can just waltz through it. But for some reason, uh, I thought the ranker said if you even struggle to get through, then you don't pass. So for watching him and this girl who expected to be chosen struggle to get through and then still be allowed to get like go through was weird. Maybe I read that wrong, but yeah, so I like the fact that they're just giving us a bunch of ways that people can or can't fail. For instance, the guy with the gun just telling us, back home, he left everything. He didn't leave himself anything to come back to, which when we hear about more from the ranker, supposedly everybody was born in this tower, like everybody here is meant to be, or they're not meant, but they were, born and created in this world in general, supposedly. So the only people who are from different worlds, supposedly, and Rachel, because they're from the same world, or they're from the same place in general. So unless Bond doesn't understand that he's always been in the tower or something like that, and that's kind of the narrative we get from that, um, then yeah, there's a weird disconnect of why they ended up here the way that they do, and where this is actually going to end up going at the end of the day. Um, I don't know. I think that's where the show has to shine in the most parts because without us having any clue of what could come next and what's going to happen next is truly, truly the main thing that's keeping me interested in all of this. Because if anybody kind of chimes in now in this like world of weird monsters and stuff like that, um, and they chime in and they're just broken. For instance, like the dual sword guy, he didn't seemingly have an emblem on his weapons that we could see, but yet he was keeping up with someone with the emblem on their weapon. So does that mean his luck is just really high and he was capable of fighting, or is his skills just that impressive that he doesn't even need one of those weapons? And since he's a male, he shouldn't have one of those weapons. You see, this is where the story starts getting interesting. Is why do only females have a chance at getting supposedly like the Black March and those marked emblems in general, when our main character Bond was just handed one, willy-nilly. And it also makes a lot more sense why she could be executed for such a thing, with that being a sword that all of a sudden when he receives it, he's just a lot better all of a sudden, right? Like he's just like ridiculously on par with some people that should probably be capable of just taking him out really easily. So I'm honestly interested in seeing where all this is going to go at the end of the day, because Tower of God looks so beautiful. It is so beautifully done, man. If there's anything this show is doing right, it's the background, it's the character designs. I mean, like, we got a guy in a freaking cover pretty much trying to sleep the whole time. And once this, like, well, you see how Law's bubble right here is? As soon as they were trying to go in like that, he just wakes up out of his nap, stands up, walks out, and he goes through and goes right back to sleep. These are the types of characters that I think hilariously are done well just because it's fun to have them around. I don't know if he's going to be a star player in the show and, have some ridiculous abilities that will put him on par with the main character and he beats, I don't know any of that, but if you sleeping through it, like, he reminded me of a Eraserhead so much, it was crazy. Like, he's straight up sleeping at every single test like it's nothing, and it's just like his character, his character motive, like, I'm gonna sleep all the time. Imagine if every time he was sleeping, he gets stronger somehow or something stupid. Like, the longer he sleeps, the stronger he gets. I don't know. Or the longer he's in sleep and you disturb him after, you get destroyed. Because he is kind of feisty. He's like, "Who to say?" Telling people to shut up because he's trying to sleep. So he's not afraid to want his peace and quiet. But yeah, with all that being said, everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be, or you're just doing all right during these times. I really do hope to talk to y'all soon. I hope you're enjoying Tower of Good, because it's going, man. Like, not only does it look ridiculously great, it's getting better with time, and expositions are just making this world sound so much crazier. So, with all that being said, everybody, I hope you have a good one, and I'm your boy, the Anime G, and I will talk to you in the next one. So, with that being said, take care and peace.